I'm Fabio Cian. I'm the ESA Secondee at the World Bank. I'm taking care of the implementation of the Global Development Assistance Program as part of the partnership between the World Bank and the European Space Agency. I'm hosted at the GFDRR, which is the Global Facility for Disaster Reduction and Recovery. And as a representative of the European Space Agency, I have the opportunity to make the connection between the two institutions, the World Bank and ESA, and be in contact and have the visibility in the operations of the bank, and therefore be able to identify where ESA can contribute and have impact in the operations of the bank, and therefore amplify what the bank can provide to country clients in developing countries. So I believe that ESA has done a huge amount of work in the past 15 years since the partnership with the World Bank started, and specifically and even more in the past few years when GDA started. Through the program, we were able to create capacity within the World Bank teams to know what are the potential and what are the solutions that can be provided through Earth observation services and applications. We are able to bring in to the World Bank the entire ESA network on Earth observation products and services, allowing the World Bank to access to cutting-edge technology in this domain, and therefore providing solutions that are customized to the needs of the bank and its projects on the ground, amplifying the impact of these activities. The role of the ESA Secondee allows us for the European Space Agency to have visibility inside the World Bank and see and really understand the strategic choices that the bank is making, allowing us to understand which are the topics and the geographical regions and so on where we can actually provide impacts. On the other hand, having an ESA Secondee within the World Bank gives ESA the possibility to understand where research and development is still needed, when we have instead available solutions that we can deploy on the ground. And therefore, this is a key role to make a connection between the two institutions and assure that we are able to amplify the impacts that we do through the activities done at ESA. Earth observation has the potential to provide information, data analysis on areas, for example, that are difficult to access. Unfortunately, in this period in history, we have a lot of conflicts in many parts of the world. There's an opportunity for us to bring information and identify the needs of these countries and population in areas that are not accessible by other means. My hope with this program is to make good use of the good and big amount of work that has been done so far, which is really a lot, and build on top of this to even improve further. At the bank, we have been both positive and not so positive engagements with different World Bank teams, which gave us an opportunity to understand what is working, what we have done well, but also what we have to learn from past activities, and therefore defining the way forward for us, where we have to improve and where we have to think different solutions. Also, I'm thinking about business models, for example. Standard classic business models might not work in areas with very low capacity, where the final stakeholders, the receiving user, which could be a government, might not have the resources to continue maintaining tools that are sophisticated and might be costly. So the innovation that ESA can bring, it's not only in the technology, for example, but it could also be on business models. So to allow us to leave, after our engagements with the country, to leave them with something that they can still use and build for future activities. Recently, we started two new thematic areas under the GDA program. One is forest management and the other one is public health. And to give an example, for forest management, this is a follow-up activity from the previous initiative, which was called EO4SD, Earth Observation for Sustainable Development. So we are building on top of the work that was done during that initiative. During that initiative, for example, we were able to inform almost 1 billion of development finance through several projects. So this gives you an idea of the scale that we can have in the context of development, because with the support we are providing to the bank, we are able to inform very big projects that can have huge impacts on the field. So the context of forest management, for example, is a context where the technology is more ready, the capacity within the banks are more developed. Also, the capacity in the country clients is more developed. So both the bank and the country clients are ready to receive this support and make use of this technology and amplify, therefore, the impact of development finance on the ground. On the other hand, I mentioned the public health new activity. That's a context where with ESA, we didn't work that much in the past. It's a pretty new field for us. So we are building the ground there. So the demand in that case, it's way less. We still need to guide World Bank project leaders to understand what are the potential using Earth observation, what they can bring in their own projects via Earth observation services and data, which could be, for example, the monitoring of public health infrastructure, both from an angle of accessibility or the risk if we are thinking about natural hazards like could be floods or droughts and so on. Other applications in the public health domain are, for example, the effect of heat waves and extreme heat on population. These are domains where we don't have data, especially in developing countries. Earth observation is a critical tool to let us understand which are the hotspots of this kind of phenomena like extreme heat, and therefore inform development projects on where to intervene to be more impactful in terms of saving lives or creating more resilient infrastructure.